Alright, welcome back, lovely ladies and good gentlemen. I was going for alliteration, but it felt pretty piss poorly. There you go. In the bottom left corner of the map, he's up 1-0 here in the losers match. Both players fighting for their lives to stay in the tournament. It's going to be the red Protosphere.
In the bottom right, as the teal Zerg, it's Tomikus.
And we'll give a bit of love to Mirko Scythe. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, friend. Just pledged $1 to my Patreon. Thank you very much.
Nice.
I think the really nice thing about Patreon is it is totally customizable too. Like if you guys want to cancel at any time, if you want $1, $5, whatever you want, it's a nice way to help outside of what Twitch is. Actually, to address this too, before we get off topic, sorry, because we'll focus on the game. Someone asked why we don't have a base rate TV to Patreon. I can't remember who it was, sorry. But the reason is because honestly, I kind of feel like Patreon does take some of the hype around donations away. Like you don't, once a month it's just like a processed payment, and you know we're not sitting here thanking you, shouting you out like, oh, so just dropped $5 on the stream, what's up? Like, I think for anything base rate TV related, whether it's events or fundraising, it's a lot more fun for us, and I think you as the viewer to get like a shout out for like an immediate satisfaction, I guess. So I've very much intentionally not set up a base rate TV Patreon for that reason specifically.
I haven't thought of that, but those are all good reasons.
Oh
my god. I was going to talk about the scouting patterns in this game. They're so odd, you know. Fear sent a probe out really early. Tomikus sent a drone out really early. I think Tomikus wanted to scout this exact thing.
Fear.
Unable to.
With the dick move about to lock down this game because the response of the drones, it comes way too late. Now he does have a drone outside of the base, and one thing he can do that we see common in response to cannon rushes is not take a hidden base, but to go for a proxy hatchery on the other side of the field, gear up and go for like a one base roach build, and that more often than not does actually beat out games where you get cannon rushed because Fear is going to be dedicating a lot of money to the side of the field. But unfortunately, Tomikus pulls the drones a little bit late. It's kind of boned.
Yeah. Tomikus also scouted very oddly. I don't know why he did this. He scouted top left first, and then top right. So if he had scouted Fear, he might have done the proxy hatch, but now he's kind of resigned to taking the hidden hatchery and trying to do something there. He can. I mean, you know, gets the cancel on his natural, takes it somewhere else, and you get a Nidus, and it'll be a little more powerful than if they thought it was just on one base. I don't think you can have a macro game out of this, but maybe I'm wrong. It's just very... I don't know a lot of Zerg players who go one base in macro, much less one base ninja base in macro. But, I mean, I would say Tomikus is one of the few players who could pull it off. He's at that caliber of play, but he's at that skill level. I just don't know if it's enough to really lock it in. I don't know, Samberg. This is questionable. I so very strongly want to emphasize that we have cast so many games where proxy hatcheries in response win the game for the Zerg player more often than not. Yeah.
I'm not on board for the ninja base, but again, it might work. Maybe it macros. There's just no reason for Fear to ever check for that. Not anytime soon, at least.
The other problem with a hidden hatchery is that it's cool if he drones makes a macro game. Like, that'd be one of the cooler games we've seen in a while, but if he's going to try and attack, then what could have been just a larva producer is now across the map. You know, like you're going to have 4 roaches from your main trying to bust down the wall, and then 4 more from the top slowly making their way with, you know, no speed down to help. It's going to just take a while, so, I mean,
he's expanding.
Oh
he's also
God. Getting an upgrade.
Yeah, this is okay. So I'm kind of praying for a Nidus Worm, but at the same time, why go for the third if that's gonna be the case? So on one hand, like this could just be straight up macro, less about cheese.
He could just 3-base Nidus though. You know, like do like a regular cheese in a non-regular circumstance.
You wouldn't even have to do though, right? Like, with the way this is being set up, he would have to very much actually Nidus one of his own bases so he can collect all the roaches and then Nidus another side of the map.
That is true. That's one of the problems. So that fear, like obviously the first reaction is like, okay, make sure they don't notice me, make sure they don't bust out and get the roaches before I have defenses, and that's why the probe is over here and the zealot's over here, and I mean, that's great. That's the first thing you have to do. But in 2 minutes, if a notice storm hasn't happened, like you're just gonna give up. You're gonna be like, oh, I guess they didn't choose that. Like, what else can they do?
Well, the layer does finish up in a moment. We'll see what he does with it. I mean. Again, this could be not even a chance at a Nidus Storm. He could just be going for this crazy roach build that will rally from 3 bases. Granted, spread out, but still, it'll rally from 3 bases.
Fear, I think, gets the Stargate not only because it gives you harassment opportunities without having to give away an army, you know, too much risk with that. It's also just in case, since there's no Nidus Storm so far, it's mutas, because that's kind of the 2 options that you have. There's usually not a macro option. So I liked that response. It's going to see that the main base is kind of, it's droned up, it has no Nidus Storm, it has a lair, and he has to be scratching his head, is like, what's going on? He's gonna start checking for hidden bases after this, I think.
Oh, here comes the Oracle. Zap, zap. What was that?
That sounded like a Baneling, didn't it?
That sounded like a Baneling detonated, but there's no... Oh, the roach attack, he must have attacked one of his links with the roaches.
Oh.
The acid spit or whatever. Because I was like, yeah, like, I saw the corner of that on my eye, right? Like, what melted? Something physically, literally melted. But, man, okay, Fury has got to be scratching his head now. I don't think you play this far into the game on 1 base, and he's either so cocky and so full of his own self-assurance that he thinks, ha, this idiot thinks he can play 1 base for me, and he's got nothing? I'm so far ahead in this game. And if that's the case, Fear's gonna straight up lose this. But on the other hand, he is scouting around the map with the Hallucinated Phoenix. I think he's got a small idea that something's up, not sure what. And he's gonna find out in a moment that there's not just 1, but 2 extra bases on the other side of the field. This is a really sucky feeling.
Doesn't quite catch the Hydralis that is also already down, but he saw how many drones there were on each of these bases, and he's got to figure that it's... I mean, hopefully he takes a second and realizes that it is almost exactly like a regular game on 3 hatches. Like, there's going to be a Roach Hydra attack soon, and you're going to have to prepare against it. The Void Rays were the safest thing he could have done. If it wasn't a Nidus Storm, maybe he just attacks up front. He doesn't want that to happen. Void Ray, make sure that doesn't happen. At the very least, you're going to survive it. Like so. I don't know where the Void Ray's going. Void Ray, stop. Void Ray? Void Ray. Void Ray. Void Ray.
They're looking to save the bases, which... It would work if there weren't already Hydras out. 1 queen wouldn't stop 2... Like, still, like, I think 2 Void Rays prismatically aligned. Knock down a hash rate before, like, 1 or 2 queens kill them. But Hydras are another can of worms. Not to mention there's Spore Callers around here, too. This Void... okay, it's gonna be on cooldown, a little bit awkward.
There aren't that many... Most of those eggs were drones, not Hydras. So now there are 7 Hydras on the way. But I don't even know if he's making sure that they're all coming from the correct bases.
It doesn't matter, though, because like, if you've never tried to pull this off yourself, you always underestimate how fragile the Void Rays are. And he actually snipes off both Void Rays, despite the recall.
That was not good. Now Tomikus has a very safe 4th base. His 5th and his 6th are just going to connect his bases if it goes that long. But Fear had this whole 10-minute period, no, not maybe 10 minutes, like 5-minute period where he was just like, I don't know what's going on. So he was probably doing, you know, the natural thing, which is like kind of microing okay and macroing pretty good. But stuff like that really messes with you. You know, like that's the stuff that really hurts Zerg players because they're reactive, not knowing what's going on. But it hurts anyone else too. Like they miss a couple of probes, they don't get the right composition. They don't get enough gateways because they're so just wandering in their head, going through certain scenarios, and forgetting to actually play the game.
By the way, Ronin of Dreams appears to have gotten his t-shirt in the mail too, but he had to duck out to work, and he'll tweet us a picture later, he says. But it is just like, it makes me feel so good knowing people are actually getting the t-shirt. It's like really good.
Looks like I'm getting pho tonight. Whoa.
Pho?
Pho? Like Vietnamese noodle soup.
Oh, okay. Actually,
I couldn't tell if you were trying to correct me.
No.
Like a white person, or you actually didn't know.
No, I didn't include it right away. Actually, I mentioned my cousin who's like a chef. He actually worked next to another restaurant called Faux Fuck Lai, but it was like PHUK, right? And they were like Vietnamese food and stuff. It's like,
If I was gonna make a faux restaurant, it'd be called Faux Sure.
but it's funny because like that's I don't know if this was like a consequence. Russell Peters actually has a joke about that, so it's like extra funny for me because I can't remember how the joke goes, but he's like, "You're gonna tell a lie, but it's not like a regular lie; it's a faux fuck lie, like the next level up." But it's a real place. It's crazy. Anyways, this attack, this is so big. This is so like this is off the end of a cannon rush where I think Fear just thought, "Man, I got this game in the pocket, easy peasy." It's gonna take a while to break due to the amount of force fields available, but this army just I don't think can take on the Hydras out in the open. This is the only place he can fight, and all he's doing is buying himself time. But what is he buying himself time for? Blink? Like that's a couple of stalkers. That's not gonna. I don't know, Samiro.
That burp was what we thought of the.
That was like less of a burp. That was more just like a. I was trying to talk while hiccuping, I guess. I don't know. Like I can't do like a proper burp. We know this.
Well, that hiccup was what you thought of this.
Sorry, but yes. It's like a frog croak, I think, more than anything else.
Oh god.
Ribbit.
This is all coming back down to Fear just was not sure what was going on. So if he knew exactly, if he saw the two bases immediately, he says, okay, hopefully I just play this like a normal game. He's on a third base and he probably has Blink with +2. You know, like a regular opener. But because he was like, I don't know what's going on, he has a couple of bases, let me try and get a void rate thing going. Like everything just went really poorly for him. Where Tomikus, despite the cannon rush, really did play a normal game.
Oh no! Fear! What are you? No! For somebody who just went Blink and was relying on stalkers, he just got his Cyber Core. Oh Jesus, he can't warp in sentries, he can't warp in stalkers. Oh my god. Like that was the misclick. That was the misclick of the century right there.
I mean, there's still the High Templar thing in the last series that kind of went over that, but I don't. They're pretty close. Oh god. He could have. I think if he had sentries and more stalker warpings, he might have been able to take out most of Tomikus' army. Like had like a stupid, crazy, like cost-efficient engagement. But.
I don't disagree with you, but I think one of the problems for this was more so the point that he was burning force fields and just keeping the army back, while not dealing any damage to it. There's no Colossus blasts, no stalker shots. He just kind of force fielded and left it rather than force fielded and took advantage of it. But guys, Tomiku's gonna take the game. That'll tie up the series 1-1 here in the losers match.